Let's take a look at where the Cardinals now stand in the wake of the Brendan Donovan deal, as well as we'll look at Chaim Bloom and his thoughts on this deal, having given an interview and talking about it, as well as we finally know how we can watch St. Louis Cardinals TV or streaming next year through MLB. We'll talk more about that, how you can watch that, and what it's going to cost you exactly. Thank you for tuning in to the St. Louis Cardinals Daily Podcast. My name is Andrew Teuscher, and after this Brendan Donovan deal, the Cardinals now have one of the best farm systems in baseball. We were already top 10, and now we're probably top 5 according to any website, adding another top 100 prospect in Jurrangelo Cijntje, a pitcher who is a switch pitcher, will likely be a right-handed pitcher. Bloom has come out and said that Cijntje, we're going to let him try this switch pitching thing for a little bit. Let's at least get our hands on him before we stomp on his dreams and say no more. His right side is just much better from his left side. From the right side, he pumps close to 100. On the left side, not nearly as much, and his secondary pitch isn't as good. So he's going to most likely just be a right-handed pitcher. The Mariners did announce that if he was going to stay in their system, they were formally going to just develop him as a right-handed pitcher. We'll see. Probably still just going to be a right-handed pitcher for Cijntje. And let's get it out there. Pronunciation, official, Cijntje. Cijntje, like staying sane, added J at the end. That's how you say his last name. You look at it there on the screen. I promise I didn't make a typo. I checked that 6 times. That is how that is spelled. It is pronounced Cijntje. But we didn't just add Cijntje. We ended up adding Ty Pete, who is now our 15th prospect in the Cardinals system. If I didn't say it already, Cijntje is 4th. Ty Pete is now the 15th prospect. Outfielder, who was an infielder, now will be moving to the outfield. His athleticism is going to be great out there. Big, powerful, and fast guy. A guy who I said yesterday is a lot like Joshua Baez. Incredible tools. We have to figure out how to refine them. Since we did that with Baez and he's producing well with the minors, we're hoping we can do something similar with Pete. I'm excited for it. And the Cardinals, along with those 2 prospects, also add Colton Ledbetter from the Tampa Bay Rays, as this was a 3-team deal. And we had 2 comp picks, 1 from the Rays, 1 from the Mariners. So Cardinals fans adding it all together at home, the Cardinals will have 5 players in exchange for Brendan Donovan. I said it yesterday. I think this trade's a B or a B minus. We did not fleece the Mariners. We did not pull any wool over anyone's eyes. We got a fair deal for Donovan and a good deal at that. Obviously, what will matter is in 3-4 years, where are these prospects at and how have we developed them? That will determine if we won this trade or not. That's why the Cardinals felt like they lost so many trades with guys like Randy Arozarena and Adolis Garcia. We could go on and on. I don't want to torture us here. But the reason we felt like we lost those trades is that we couldn't develop the players. We sent them off and they developed them. It'll all depend on how these players develop to see if we won, quote unquote, won this deal or not. So Cardinals fans have to be patient. But what we do know right now is the Cardinals have one of the best farm systems in all of baseball. We now have 6 top 100 prospects, tied for the most among all teams in baseball. We were top 10 before this trade. Now we're easily top 5 according to any site. Those are yet to be updated. Unfortunately for those sites, they just put out a lot of those, whether it be MLB Pipeline, Baseball America. We just wrecked all of their lists. Sorry, ESPN in addition, as we've gone through previously. So the Cardinals, 6 top 100 prospects now with the addition of Cijntje. And since Bloom has come into being the actual president of baseball operations, he has left his stamp on the Cardinals. And we talked about this in an episode about a month ago. Chaim Bloom and his time with the Rays, I think, is more reflective on what he was. All he's known for with the Red Sox is getting fired and trading Mookie Betts. But with the Rays, he was a guy that was willing to make the trades to get the farm system going, add pitching, and develop guys. And that's exactly what we've seen here. Willing to trade the big names if it means good things for the team. Since July, Cardinals Talk on X had a great tweet talking about all the things we've added since July. And these are the prospects we've added in their prospect rank in the Cardinal system, or where they were before they were traded. Since July, we've added Liam Doyle, our number 2 prospect, Brandon Clark, our number 7 prospect, Jurrangelo Cijntje, the Seattle number 7 prospect, who's now number 4, Joker Fajardo, number 9 prospect, number 10 prospect, Jesus Baez, Seattle number 11 prospect, number 15th prospect, Ty Pete, number 12 prospect, Ryan Mitchell, number 21 prospect, Tanner Franklin, number 22 prospect, Jack Garovich, and number 24 prospect from the Rays, Colton Ledbetter. Bloom has made so many additions to this team, completely new-looking team, and we'll have to see how they develop and change over the years, but now we can be excited for the Cardinals. Specifically, pitching is the weakness of the Cardinals in years recent past is been pitching depth. And when the Cardinals were at their best in the 2010s and 2000s, that's what we had going for us, was a ton of pitching depth. Well, now listen to the names. None of these, we'll have to see how they work out. These are just names that we now have who we can get excited about, but this is far better than we were before. We have guys like Matthew Liberatore, McGreevy, Hunter Dobbins, Quinn Matthews, Richard Fitz, Liam Doyle, Tink Hintz, Durangelo Senja, Takoa Roby, Ishan Henderson, Brandon Clark, Cooper Jerby, all guys in the next 2 years we expect to make an impact on our team. That is such a refresh compared to what we were just having with Miles Michaelis, as well as Steven Matz, and guys who were just there to throw innings and not develop or really have any meaning to them. They were failures. We have hope now with this group. We will have to see how they pan out. This is going to be a very different era of Cardinals baseball over the next couple of years compared to what we're used to. And Chaim Bloom's excited about this. He talked about in his interview after the trade became official that apparently actually this deal got done while the Seattle GM and president of baseball operations were at the Seattle State Capitol with Cal Rowley. Apparently they had passed something. They were honoring Cal there, and they had to like sneak out of the Senate building in order to make the phone call and get this deal done, which, great story. Ken Rosenthal on The Athletic. Go read it if you want. But Bloom's thought on this deal are very clear. We were going to add quantity to our development, to our player pool, in order to hope that some of them pan out. Here's what he had to say, quote, "We wanted to make sure we got talent that has great upside. There are no guarantees, but we wanted to get at least one, if not multiple pieces that had potential to impact a playoff team." He goes on to say, "Because of this deal, we will add 5 more promising young players to the talent pipeline that has always fueled this organization's sustained success." He recognizes what made the Cardinals successful before, and he wants to do that exactly right now. Add depth to your prospect pool and see what pans out. I think that makes sense why the Cardinals weren't just chasing one prospect from guys like Donovan or Contreras or Gray. They were okay with adding depth because at the end of the day, it's all about how you develop these guys. As long as they have some talent, take a guy like Ty Pete. Tons of talent, not a phenomenal prospect right now. It all depends on how you develop him. Even Senja, incredible talent, best fastball in the Mariners system as he got sent on over. But we have to develop that. We have to develop his secondary pitches and learn how to pitch just right-handed, because actually he's not a natural righty. He picked that up from his dad. Still a great righty. We're hoping big things from Senja. So the plan for Bloom has been obvious and clear, and he relays it there. And he goes on to say further in that interview that this deal wouldn't have happened without those comp picks. We were constantly wondering, will the Cardinals get a deal done? Will they, won't they, with the Seattle Mariners? And apparently the comp picks, bringing in the Rays, was what got the deal done. So I'm imagining DePoto and Bloom were going back and forth constantly on this, and they brought in the Rays, and that is what got the deal done. They brought in a friend, and they've come together now in getting rid of Brendan Donovan. Donovan, again, we hope the best for you. We brought in a haul of players, and we'll see how they work out. Well, now the Cardinals roster doesn't have Donovan on it. So what does our infield look like? Well, to cover the things that aren't really changing, Burleson, first base, full-time, not much will change there. Maybe this opens DH more now that you have one less bat. You have to facilitate around. Regardless, shortstop will be Mason Wynn. That hasn't changed. Ivan Herrera, we're hoping, will play catcher. But again, this opens up some more reps in the DH position, because if we want to play Gorman, now we don't have to play Gorman as much in DH, because right now it projects that the third baseman for the St. Louis Cardinals will be a platoon between Nolan Gorman and Thomas Saggese. I looked more into this. Oh, it makes sense. Saggese a righty, Gorman a lefty. Obviously, you want him playing against the opposite-handed guy. Gorman's just a better hitter than Saggese against even lefties. Gorman's splits are versus left-handed pitchers. He has a 717 OPS, and versus righties, he has a 720 OPS. So he's even not really that much different between the two sides. Saggese, in the meanwhile, versus lefties, has a 652 OPS, which is, again, significantly worse than Gorman's 717. And versus righties, he has a 620 OPS. Hopefully, with more time, he develops into a better hitter. Let's give him an opportunity here. But that's going to, at least initially, per Fangraphs, going to be what they think our platoon will be at third. And then second base, no longer Brendan Donovan. Fangraphs fully projects J.J. Weatherholt to be the full-time second baseman. And I love this idea. Having this battery of Mason Wynn to J.J. Weatherholt turning two for the next 10, 15 years does sound super exciting. Weatherholt, I'm excited for him at second base. A shortstop, I don't think he really had the arm to be third baseman. We haven't heard much about that. be an exceptional tool of his. So I think second makes a ton of sense. I'm hoping he plays great defense there. And that lets Gorman play third almost every day, as much as we want him to at least. Let him earn that position. I think that makes more sense for Gorman. That's where he more naturally played anyway. We just had to move him because we traded for Nolan Arenado. And, well, Nolan Arenado is going to play third base. So the Cardinals are still projected to be the 6th worst team in baseball after this deal. Frankly, after moving all of these guys that we have, the Cardinals have moved down slightly in things like WAR projections for Fangraphs, but not that much. Truly not that much. Because whenever you move on from a guy like Nolan Arenado and you replace him with J.J. Weatherholt, that's a plus. So losing Donovan, we didn't lose a ton there in that total net outcome if you're just going strictly WAR. Obviously, we also lose Wilson Contreras and Sonny Gray. This team will be worse than next year. I'm not trying to say that. But there's some hopes for this team to not lose 100 games. I would say that. I don't think we're going to lose 100 games. I think we'll lose somewhere between 80 and 90. If we lose more than 90, this would be truly a painful season. Let me guys know what you think in the comments. How many games do the Cardinals win this year? Let's look at it that way. Not how many will we lose. How many will we win? Glass half full, folks. I'll stay optimistic for us. So the Cardinals infield, a lot of options, a lot more opportunity for young guys now going forward. We'll talk more about that in the coming days. Last thing I want to cover, we now know how we will be able to watch Cardinals baseball in 2026, or at least a little bit more. We are officially going to be using the MLB broadcast system for the St. Louis Cardinals, and what that means is that you can watch it via streaming or watch it via cable / satellite. So truly no change there. You can either stream it somewhere or you can have it on your cable system. That's what we had with Bally Sports, FanDuel, and even Fox Sports. We had those options. You can get this access by doing one of two things we're already being told. One is you get the streaming service. You subscribe to Cardinals.tv, not MLB.tv. Cardinals.tv if you're in the St. Louis streaming area. If you typically get blackouts from MLB.tv, you now need Cardinals.tv. And that's how you're going to stream it. That'll work exactly like, again, how FanDuel worked last year for either $20 a month or $100 per season. I think that's slightly lower than what FanDuel was. You guys remind me in the comment section below. I had it via cable last year, so I didn't have to check on that streaming service cost. Speaking of cable, you might be able to watch this on cable next year. So don't go out there and buy the streaming service. I'm telling you guys just yet. Wait. Pause. Hopefully you didn't leave the video already, because they're saying it's going to be kind of like FanDuel or Bally Sports or Fox Sports Midwest, where they're going to make deals with some cable providers, but they don't know which ones yet. That has not been released. We should know more by February 10th and possibly even before then. That is what the website says for Cardinals.tv. They said, quote, information on cable and satellite providers, including specific channel locations, will be announced on a, quote, later date. If you're outside of the St. Louis area, do not subscribe to Cardinals.tv. I'll say that one more time. If you're someone you're a big fan and you live in Colorado and you're watching the St. Louis Cardinals, thanks for tuning in, by the way, you will be blacked out. You need MLB.tv because you're out of market. That changes nothing for you, just FYI. And speaking of blackouts, there will be no blackouts in the St. Louis area. This is, again, not MLB.tv, which some of you may have had. This is Cardinals.tv. So local games will be broadcasted every single day for the Cardinals. We will be able to watch that there. We have not announced anything about if this will be if you'll have to have Cardinals.tv for spring training. I assume you will. They haven't gotten into detail about how that's being broadcasted just yet, or who the announcers are. You guys tell me, who do you want the announcers to be for the Cardinals? I hope they bring back Chip and the crew and Brad Thompson. I love that combo. Hopefully they bring them back, and we'll see what the Cardinals have going forward. You guys let me know who you want to hear in the comment section below, and I appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll cover more of your birds going in the days forward. We're so close to pitchers and catchers reporting, folks. Thanks for tuning into the St. Louis Cardinals Daily Podcast. Again, my name is Andrew Teuscher. Don't forget to subscribe below. Love hanging out with you guys.